Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Bacade and you join me out here on a cold British day doing my 10-mile bike ride. Now we're back in lockdown. It's been nearly a week since the lockdown started, and this is what I do to keep fit, if you didn't know. I've done a review on my current bike, the Raleigh Strada TS2. I'll put that as a link in the description. But for those of you who watched, let's go and I'll show you how I keep fit. This is a 10-mile route that I take around my local area, and it's quite challenging. I haven't done it for quite a while. Usually I've used this bike to commute to work, etc. But I like this. It's a challenging route and it's not too difficult, except for obviously the road's a bit on our left isn't too well paved. But as you can see, it's not so windy. I mean, I did a ride like this, it was awful weather the other day. Don't realise the wind really does push you back. We'll be going over a couple flyovers soon, which will be quite challenging on this bike. I hear something in the distance. I think there's a combine out. Yeah, massive combine, if you can see that. Just out in the distance there. I'm going to have to go out in the middle. Bad road surface in here. Plus this is a 50 road, not the most ergonomic of routes. Nice to get some fresh air, really. So for those of you who might be going through some difficulties in lockdown, it's always alternatives to like the gym and that. I do work in the gym, and I'm also an avid lifeguard as well. There's also a link to the video where I describe my lifeguarding experiences down below, if you'd like to check that out. It's quite a long run, it's about 50 minutes. If you can spare some time, it kind of outlines the pros and cons of lifeguarding. But yeah, talking about gyms, they're all shut down in the country until further notice. Well, I say that because the lockdown may be extended. The intention was to basically make this a big circuit breaker to stop cases rising, and now people are kind of lost and their mental health might go down. Social, physical and mental well-being is on the line, because obviously people can't go and socialise in like classes, leisure centres, etc., and keep their mind off things doing physical exercise, unless of course they're elite athletes, in which there's a lot of funding for that, in which sports like boxing can continue. But no, it's quite an interesting affair. I'd say don't be discouraged, and now is a better time to take up outdoor activity. If you've got an old bike in the shed, certainly go out and use it, because the roads aren't busy, it's not as dangerous as it once was, and that's what encouraged me to buy this Raleigh Strada TS2. That was my little lockdown gift. And you get to see the country, see some scenery. Well, it depends on where you live actually, such as all the sheepies over there. Minding their own business. Make sure that you keep your mind occupied. For those of us who are on furlough like myself, need something to keep our mind off things. And biking is sort of like my go-to. Fortunately enough, I actually have a home gym, so I'm fortunate enough to have a home gym and work out. Though the weight's there, I do a lot of weight training, the resistance aren't quite as much as what I'm able to do at the gym myself. It's not as interesting at my house, you know, but you've got to progressively overload it and make sure you can get into a comfort zone of where you're focused in your zone, and then it becomes easier for you to do it. Then you up the ante. I've been doing these 10-mile bike rides and I've seen my time, because it's like a time circuit, go down quite a lot. But yeah, it's quite interesting. Oh, the wind is really pushing me back now. Hope everyone's doing okay. I heard that news about my favourite upcoming car, GR Yaris has been on a press release in the UK, and it's got near 5-star reviews, nearly perfect scores, and the only disadvantage really is the crappy boot space and the rear seat room. More so headroom than leg room. It's kind of like the GT86 in that sense. The rear room is compromised, but has a much better dynamic feel than most cars on the road today. So you're turning up to Walpole St Andrews, and what I think is they've gone back to a route. Of course, they've got their head chief, Akio Toyoda, who's Mr. Toyoda's son in direct development. And if you know that not many manufacturers have their big boss develop cars this closely before, especially considering the fact, and I didn't know this, the GR Yaris was developed in the same factory that developed the Lexus LFA. Now that's just astonishing to me, and it shows that the greatness from that is rubbed off on this car, it seems. You know, they're not directly related. One's an all-out supercar, one's a rally car, and one's 10 times more expensive than the other. But albeit, they're fantastic cars, and they'll become a rarity, I reckon. Now Toyota's set to produce 25,000 of these at least, and I think that number might increase. But sales for these, they're selling like hotcakes. 600 or 750 have sold recently. But yeah, that's really good. Oh my god, the wind's really starting to pick up now. This is not good. Oh, speaking of cars, I drove past for the first time a car completely engulfed in flames, which was near Gedney in a lay-by. I thought it was actually a Mazda MX-5. I read the news article, didn't actually identify what the car was, but it's kind of obvious if it's an MX-5. They're mass-produced, and it was a convertible. Apparently, according to the news article, firefighters turned up, and it was caused by an electrical fault. Now, me thinking it was an MB Miata, that they would have to recall them if that was a common fault, because cars don't usually just go up in flames. That's something you hear from exotic mid-engine cars. But no, I recently saw the wreckage a morning after, as I sometimes go that way to drive, and it was actually a Suzuki Cappuccino. It was a small K car. I thought that's gotta be it. But how tragic. Someone's life would have been ruined, and especially because it's lockdown, their form of transport is gone. In and out of a small K car, which is extremely rare in the UK. An icon in Japanese countries. Kind of like the GRS I was talking about earlier. You'd hate to see something like that burn to the ground. Should be burning your trousers off in the corners, but no, burn on the side of the street. Oh, this is tiring. I've had this bike for nearly 6 months and it served me really well. I actually replaced the centre stand with just a more conventional kickstand to reduce the weight. So I found it was quite bulky. I know with performance cycling, you need as much weight saving as possible. This bike at standard weighs under 14 kilograms. With the additions I've added on, it weighs a bit more than that now. Plus with me, because it's winter, I have to wear more. It's slowing me down a little bit. It's not too bad. It's trying to find your niches in lockdown. Remember, you can go out for a limited amount of exercise, as far as I'm aware, so you should be fine. As long as you can find something to do, or something within your household. It's better than nothing. Beating people who are on the couch. It may be a pain in the ass and a chore. It's not as it's not got the environment like a gym. But trust me, if you pump the iron, do some sort of routine to work out any sort of muscular groups you can think of, you feel much better for it. The serotonin boost makes you have something to live for. That's why it's so good on the mental state of mind of most people. Exercise is the key. Okay, so I don't know if you can see here that I am currently doing a pace of about, it's only 3 kilometers an hour, and there's my distance there. Just under 8 kilometers to go, and it is fucking windy. I'm going over a bypass over a dual carriageway in a moment, and my legs are not going to be feeling up to it. But that's what we do anyway. We push forward. I'll tell you what, this wind, though it's slowing me down, it's definitely cooling down my muscles. It's making my face feel nice and cool. Ugh. Get a bit more speed. Actually have to stand up. There's a road surface, even here isn't that great. Scenery's alright. There's a couple of runners out there. Not many people run on this road though, to be fair.
Oh no!
Coming down here is not the best idea. I didn't expect the wind to be this strong. I had to change the gear. I usually go 3x8, but I've been 7th here. Just to make my legs spin that little bit slower and reduce resistance so I don't conk out. That's the thing. On bike ride, where there's a lot of wind, you certainly don't want to pedal too fast or in high intensity sprints. If you're going a fair distance like me, 10 miles, and doing it in sprints is harder, much harder than it would seem. Not in any sort of road bike with thin tyres and a good state for speed. There's resistance through the tyres. Don't think I pumped them up quite enough the last time I did, but don't make the same mistake I did. Pump them up consistently. Make sure they've got enough air in them. Otherwise it almost feels like you're sinking into the tarmac. This was designed more for sort of like the trail. It does this very well. But I'm pushing my legs nearly 100%. I don't know if you can see up there, but there's the ascent of the bypass, the first one. Now the fun thing is actually going down them. That'll be fun to show you. I think you can reach speeds of up to 30 miles an hour. Slightly out of practice actually, but just because you may be slightly out in terms of actual strength or performance, doesn't mean you can't regain it. It's kind of discouraging. Maybe that way, maybe you can always get it back. The thing is, muscle and your performance gains get lost much quicker than it can be gained. However, this is why you must train consistently, especially in the state of lockdown, the state of the world at the moment. You've got to keep pushing. So I'm actually standing up. I don't want to go too low gears, otherwise I feel like I'm going nowhere. Whew. here's where the exciting part happens. Downhill. So you have to focus here. Oh fuck. No, ideally don't take your hand off. Oh. Woo. Now usually that feels way quicker, but that's just a testament to how powerful the elements are. Wind just pushes you back. Really does stop you from speeding up. No cars behind us, so we're going to take a right. Just a moment. Nothing's coming. Going to ease up a little bit. Ease up, of course, until the second flyover, which is not very far from here. It's it's about half a kilometre away, in fact. Just as I'm going around this kind of blind corner, we'll start to go slightly uphill. Have to check what's behind me. It's like that because there's cars coming at your six quite a bit here. First time I tried this, I was shit scared. Have to change the gear down a little bit. Oh, it's not so windy now. Legs have had time to recuperate. So now, hitting the peak of this bypass. That one, I admit, is slightly easier. It's not just a straight ascent. You gotta watch this. On the left here, some people pulled out on me from here. You see this? It's much more aggressive. I don't know if it will show on camera, but it's quite a bit quicker feeling in here real life. Wind blowing. And I'm just wearing my arm warmers in my fur. Don't have any sort of thermals. T-shirt, thin jacket, some trackies, because I'm sweating loads. There's no need for any more heavy clothing because it will just add that extra clad that you don't want. So, yeah. So we've got probably about 10 minutes before we reach back home, unless the 10-mile circuit will be complete. It's starting to get quite dark quite quickly. At least it's not raining. Weather can change like that. But as for now, you can probably hear me a bit better because you calm down a bit. Then I can pick up the speed. I nearly fell down that little ridge down there before. That was scary. You gotta be paying attention. Most definitely. In the case of biking, it's paying attention to your surroundings. Roads I live, and this is why I have the GoPro on me at all times. A woman picking up a school kid parked on the side of the road. I was literally a metre away from her car door, so should I say in front of me. There was no traffic on the other side. I gave enough space. I wasn't going to clip the wind mirror or anything. She opens the door and I nearly run into it, so I have to swerve out of the way. I have to swerve out of the way like that, mega quick. Ooh, fuck. scariest moments I've ever had. Could have bowled into her and smashed the car door or whatever. Luckily I'm not. I'm biking on Wednesday the 11th, quite a bit before school time. It's now 2:30, so I shouldn't have that problem as I come down this road. And now, nearly there, just gotta push. There is a right-hand turn that I'm a bit nervous about. You've got to make sure you signal with your arms. Remember that gives drivers a notification that you're going to make a turn, because you're much slower than a moving car, unless of course you've got a massive electric motor on your bike. You know, the ones that you see which are advertised with like 3,000 watts, claim to do quite 60 miles an hour, but who would want to do that on a bicycle? It's highly illegal. Just wait for this car to go. Got just enough space. And go. I'll continue this video when I get home, and I'll show you my elapsed time. So that's the time I got. And there we are, that's where we have it. 45 minutes, which is what I used to do when I first started biking. Obviously got quite a bit of a way to go because my record is 40 minutes on this route, but yeah, hope you guys enjoyed watching this video. Please like, share and subscribe, and peace.